The TRANS-TRAC system is a super simple, affordable tool for real estate agents to organize and manage their listings and sales. Thousands of agents have benefited from using this transaction tracking system since the first hard copy version came out in 2004. After extensive development, we're proud to announce the new software version is now available with a 100-day free trial and a special introductory price of $12.95 per month. So subscribe today before the special goes away. But what is the TRANS-TRAC system? How will it benefit my business? And how easy is it to use? Well, watch carefully as I show you the answers. First, the TRANS-TRAC system is a database that lets you see at a glance the status of multiple transactions. It also acts as your procedures manual, guiding you step by step through every task needed to close a listing or sale. Next, it benefits your business in multiple ways, including, but not limited to, 1, you will avoid costly delays in closing. 2, when hiring an assistant or transaction coordinator, it will minimize the time you need to spend training them in, letting you stay focused on what makes you money, getting listings and sales. And number 3, it will help you relax and sleep at night knowing nothing has fallen through the cracks on any of your transactions. And last, the TRANS-TRAC system is so simple to use, I can demonstrate it in just a few minutes. So let me show you. Whenever you log in, you'll be taken to the Transactions tab of the dashboard. You can always return simply by clicking on the TRANS-TRAC logo in the top left corner. I call this your transactions board because 20 years ago, I built this system on a 4 by 8 foot whiteboard that hung on my office wall. First, let me show you what information you can see on this board. Across the top are headings for each column. These include all the tasks that are necessary for you to close a transaction, starting with submitting to the MLS and going through installing a lockbox, submitting a sales file, opening escrow, approving escrow instructions, having the buyer and seller sign, removing the lockbox, and archiving the file. Each row below the headings is a separate transaction. And what you'll be able to see is the address, the transaction type, the transaction status, the relevant dates, and most importantly, the status of every task. Once a task is completed, it turns green, shows the day it was completed, and by whom. If a task is past due, it turns red. If it's coming due within 5 days, it turns black with a red shadow. And if it is more than 5 days before it's due, it'll be just black. So that's what you can see when looking at the transaction board. Now, let me show you the information you can get from the board and where you can go to from the board. First, if you leave the Choose a Team drop-down empty and then move your mouse over the heading for any task, when you click, you'll get a pop-up that shows generic instructions on how to complete that task. Alternatively, when you select a team and click on the heading, you'll get instructions that have been customized specifically for that team. They can be customized anytime simply by clicking the Edit Procedure button. Now, let me show you where you can go from your transactions board. By clicking on a property address, a separate tab opens up with all the details for that transaction, including the involved parties listed on the left side of the page, and on the right side, the relevant status, dates, and financials, and below that, a list of all the tasks. You can get more details simply by clicking on the property address, the name of any of the involved parties, or the name of any particular task. But for now, let's go back to your transactions board and see other ways to get to that same information. First, I'll select Gus's Go-Getters, and I see that Mallard Bay has 3 tasks that need attention. 1 is past due, and 2 are coming due soon. By clicking on the cell with red font, I'm taken to the task for Submit to MLS that's assigned to Mary Agent. By clicking to complete, I'm choosing Completed by Mary. The task now shows that it's been completed today by Mary. The next task, Submit Listing File, has to be assigned. I'll assign it to Tom Jefferson. Then I will click to complete by Tom, and it too shows that it's completed today by Tom. Now the third task, Install Lockbox, I'm simply going to assign to myself, and I'll show you another way to complete it. Notice, by the way, the instructions for completing each task will show up below here, and they'll be the customized instructions for the team that you're working on. Next way to find that task, which is Install Lockbox assigned to Brad, is I go to the list of Brad's tasks, and I see from my list of tasks that the Mallard Bay Install Lockbox is not completed, so I click there, select Complete, and yes, it's completed by me, and it now disappears from my list of tasks and shows green on the transactions board. So far, I've shown you the 2 tabs on the dashboard, the list of transactions and the list of tasks. The top 2 tabs include list of contacts and list of properties. This is what the system looks like after you've entered data. Now let me show you how to actually create contacts, properties, transactions, and tasks. It's so simple. Just start by clicking Add Contact. You'll have the option to create a contact only, as the button says, or by selecting Add a New Property, you'll create the contact and be directed to a property details page with the owner pre-populated. Or you can add a property separately, let's say because the contact already exists in your database, and this will be their second or third property. Now, to create a transaction, you start with a property. So we'll go to the dashboard, list of properties, and I will select Bear Valley Street. And by clicking on the Create Transaction button, you'll be taken to a new transactions page. This is what it looks like before you've added contacts and all the relevant dates. Of course, you will need to select the related contacts, the transaction type and status, and enter the relevant dates and financials. But once you've completed that, this is what it will look like. Also, initially, there will be no tasks, but based on the transaction's type, status, relevant dates, the appropriate tasks with the appropriate due dates will be created with one click of the Load Task List button. Let me show you how that works. I'll go to the Transactions board, select the Mallard Bay listing, and I just changed it to under contract, and it only shows the tasks necessary for a listing. But now that I've changed it to under contract, I can click the Load Under Contract Task List, and there they are. And when we go back to the board, the tasks all show up on the board. Now, these tasks won't be assigned to anybody initially, which is okay if you're just an individual agent working on your own. But when you're ready to grow your team, just go to your My Teams page where you can add existing users to your team or invite new users to join. Thanks for taking the time to learn about the TRANS-TRAC system. We look forward to having you join this community of successful real estate agents and appreciate any feedback that will help improve the system going forward.